Okay, here we're going to the lesson, the flower button lesson, which is right here, the flower button lesson. And remember how we got there was we signed in, we clicked on learn, and then we clicked lessons. Then we went to see all lessons. Then we're on the flower button. Go ahead and click on that one. Now, if you don't see the start, if you hover over, take your mouse and hover over flower button, drag it across, there you will see where it says start for you to start your project. So this is the beginning of the lesson. I like to zoom in. That way I can see exactly what I'm doing. We're on step 1, number 1. It says drag a cylinder shape to the work plane. Alright, this is the first step of us creating our flower button. My cylinder is over here. I'm going to left click on my mouse and drag my cylinder over to the work plane. There we go. Now I have my cylinder onto the work plane. I'm going to click next. Step 2, number 1 says scale it to a height of 2 millimeters and a diameter of 6 millimeters. Remember, when we are scaling something that is dealing with the height, we are on this white square right here on the top. So I'm going to hover over that square and click on it. Then I'm going to go into the box where it says 20, click in that box. And I'm going to just press the number 2, then press enter. Now, as you notice, it has scaled my cylinder down to 2 millimeters. The white buttons in the corners, these are the ones that is used to set the diameter. So I click on that. Then I click in the white where it says 20 in that white box. I click in there. I'm pressing 6. It's the diameter, so I have to do it to the other side. 6 and press enter. Now this is what I have. I'm going to click. Well, number 2 says move it to the area outlined in orange. So I'm going to click on that. You can left click and drag it, or remember, you can move it over with the arrow keys. I am going to use the arrow keys on my keyboard to move it over. There we go. Now I like to zoom in. Then I click next. Step 3. Now copy and paste the cylinder and place it in the area outlined in orange. So this solid orange shape here, we are going to copy, then paste. Okay. So the shortcuts for copy and paste, to copy it is Control-C, then Control-V. As you notice, I have copied and pasted. Now I can use my arrow keys to nudge it into place. Now it says repeat this process again to make this shape look like a flower. Copy and paste another cylinder and move it to the area outlined in orange. But there's a tip here which is very important for us. It says the quickest way to make copies of the shape is to hold the Alt button. Then click and drag the cylinder. This will leave the original shape where it is currently at and create a new copy for you to move. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to hold down the Alt button, the ALT. So I hold that down, then I'm going to left click on my shape and I'm just dragging it. Notice it is making a copy for me and leaving my original shape where it's at. This comes in handy. So I'm holding down the Alt button, then I'm left clicking and dragging this over. Now I have my shape, you can see, is starting to take form into a flower. It says drag a cylinder onto the work plane. So I go back over here, grab another cylinder, left click, drag it onto the work plane. And then it says make it a hole. Well, up here is what I need to click on to make my cylinder a hole. So next to shapes, there is this drop down arrow here. And there I have right here where you can see where it says hole. I'm going to click on that. It has turned my cylinder into a hole. It says scale it to a smaller diameter of 2 millimeters. Remember, like I said earlier, these white squares on the corners is where we click to scale our diameter. I'm going to click there and change it to 2 millimeters. And it says move it to the area, move it to the orange outline, area. So I'm going to click on my new cylinder that I made into a hole, and I'm just going to click and drag it over. Now I have my cylinder there ready to make a hole onto my button. So I'm going to click next. Now we have copy and paste again. So shortcut Control C, Control V, and I'm going to nudge it over with my arrow keys. So now we need to select all the shapes. How I like to do it, I like to zoom out and left click somewhat over here on the work plane. I'm left clicking and dragging. You'll see a red square, dragging it over my entire design. I have selected everything, and how I know everything is selected, it says here shapes 8. That means I have 8 shapes selected. Now we have to group them together with everything selected. I am pressing on this button here. That is called the group button. Here you go. My holes have been made. There you go. Now, remember, the last step is to add your name to the work plane. So I need to come over here, click on Basic Shapes, click that drop down arrow, change it to text, in numbers. And I'm going to drag my name to the work plane. I am going to do my initials. Here's my initials. Now, if you want to rotate your letters up, the curved arrows, so there's curved arrows all around the letters. That is what you use to rotate them, your letters. And rotating. Just making it look more creative just by standing my letters up. Notice they are still kind of, the work plane is hiding half the letters, so this black cone here is what raises your letters a little up off the work plane. And there you have it. That is a finished design for the flower button. Make sure when you have it, you take a screenshot and attach it to the assignment that is currently posted on Teams.